Electrical engineering is a really popular degree here in America. I get lots of questions about it. And so in this video, we're going to break it all down. Madhav's going to share about his journey studying electrical engineering as an undergrad at Arizona State University with courses in curriculum, job scope and industry tips, how to get jobs, and everything that's going to help you guys thrive as an electrical engineer here in America. Join us. My friends, welcome to Chine Coaching. I'm super excited for this video. It's going to help you guys be successful in your cross-cultural journey, especially those of you interested in electrical engineering. Be sure to share this video with anyone else you know who wants to pursue this degree. But Madhav, go ahead and introduce yourself, buddy.
Hey everybody, my name is Madhav and I'm from New Delhi, India. I actually did my undergrad at Arizona State University, Tempe campus in electrical engineering, and I will be soon starting my full-time in Oregon.
Awesome. And Madhav's going to break down all these important aspects about electrical engineering. Well, let's first start off, Madhav. Why did you choose to do electrical engineering at Arizona State University?
So to be honest, I started electrical engineering in general because I knew one thing for sure, that I didn't want to do mechanical engineering because, I thought it was too much of dynamics and physics, the kind of physics that I was not very much inclined towards. Computer science was something I never had too much exposure to, but once I started electrical engineering, I felt that I had like that curiousness for coding as well, but that is kind of, I'll talk about that afterwards. But yeah, computer science was something I never had too much exposure to, so I think I strike that off. I was about 17 when I was deciding all these things, so the reasoning I went through is not one of the most mature reasoning I came through. But the main thing that took me to electrical engineering was I always heard that it has great scope. It is hard, but it is accepted everywhere. So, it's like if you're an electrical engineer, no matter, where you are, it's probably the systems are going to be the same, the circuit designs are going to be the same. And there were a lot of companies in the US, that hired electrical engineers. And I had also some seniors who did EE from ASU that I would talk to, because I think in the US, talking to people is very important. So I did talk to them and they said, they loved electrical engineering, and the fact that they got jobs after that, they were happy with that. So that's why I took electrical engineering with a leap of faith that I'm not making a wrong mistake at 17, 18 years old. So that's why.
Yeah, and doing your undergrad at Arizona State. That's very exciting. What made you choose ASU?
So I'll be honest, I did get into universities that were high, even more highly ranked, like Purdue and other these universities. But the fact that I chose ASU was obviously its electrical engineering department was good, but more importantly, it did offer me a very generous financial aid at that time. So that was the reason I came to ASU, and I've heard great things about ASU in general. And I'll just break a myth here that ASU is not a party school. Like, I'm not sure which ASU are they talking about. If you go to online, you'll see on Reddit, it's a party school. I'm like, I'm yet to see that kind of ASU. There would be certain parties there, and some corners or some majors that are more inclined towards that. But if you're here for electrical engineering, to be honest, I don't think you can get into a better university than ASU.
Fantastic. Well, tell us about kind of the course and curriculum. What's the classwork like? What's the classroom and professor-student relationships like? Kind of break that down.
I will tell you that the coursework is not easy. If you're looking for something that you want to get straight A's and, you don't really want to put in the work, I would not choose ASU's electrical engineering. It is hard. So if you're coming here for master's, I would highly recommend that you have a pretty strong foundation in your undergrad. If you're coming here for undergrad, I would highly recommend that you have a very strong foundation in physics and math. Chemistry, I only took one class. You don't really need chemistry in electrical unless you're going in device physics. ASU is more focused on analog, digital kind of circuits. It's like analog circuits, digital circuits, VLSI. They're one of the top rated programs. Even power is a top rated program for ASU, power system engineering. So I know a lot of people who did that. Most of the people I know, they did analog circuit designing in a master's in that, and they absolutely loved it. ASU is really, really robust when it comes to analog, especially it's known for its analog circuits, like training in that. ASU is also coming up, I think, in device physics or material science, which is also now part of electrical engineering. I do not really know a lot of people when it comes to device physics or, photovoltaics or that kind of renewable energy kind I do maybe know one or two, but most of the people that I know who come from India for masters want to pursue analog because analog is highly ranked. And even me as an undergrad, I was initially planning to pursue a master's in analog system engineering or analog circuits. That's because I loved analog because their coursework for undergrad was so robust when it comes to analog. There were like 6 circuit classes that you have to take that's solely focused on analog circuits. I really like that.
That's great.
ASU in general prepares you for any kind of electrical engineer you want to be in your undergrad. Masters is obviously a different story, but I think I've heard great things like power, VLSI, digital, analog. These are like the major electrical engineering pathways, and ASU ranks really good in them.
Fantastic. Now, what about the job scope? And a little bit, we're going to talk more about tips for internships, how you get your full-time job. We'll talk briefly just about the job scope. What opportunities are there? What's the industry like? Are people going to get a good ROI and investment for their degree?
Oh, indeed. Yeah. So just talking about Arizona in general, Arizona is a heaven for electrical engineers is what I'll say. Now, why do I say that? Because Arizona does have all of the biggest electrical engineering firms right there. There's Texas Instruments, there's Intel, that's really big. So Intel is like the major recruiter. There's On Semiconductor where I worked a lot. There's Microchip, there's Micron, there is TSMC that is now opening in Arizona. If you're looking to do electrical engineering, you probably know what TSMC is. It's a huge company. It's a great company. I've heard there are 7 electrical engineering companies. Like my belief is that, if you go to US News or some ranking kind of a page of QS World News, and if you go to the top university versus if you come to Arizona for electrical engineering, it should be equivalent because Arizona is like they hire electrical engineers like hot cupcakes. So I would just go for ASU any time of the day. Again, I don't regret that. Return on investment in terms of salaries for electrical engineering, I think electrical engineers, they're compensated pretty nicely. So it's a great profession to get into. I don't think that I know somebody who got a job and he's like not happy with his company or where he is in life right now. So I would definitely recommend that, but only if you really can take the journey, because electrical engineering, as I said, it's not that easy. There would be sometimes where you can maybe just take a friend's code or just submit it or something, or like you might find some more shortcuts or some easier classes when it comes to computer science because there's so many online resources when it comes to computer science. Mm-hmm. But electrical engineering is like completely different. If you're stuck, you're stuck. Like you have no idea because you can't go on Stack Overflow and look at some electrical bug that's coming in your circuit from past 5 hours. So I think that is one other thing why electrical engineers are highly paid. And also I think, as I said, if you guys looked at my previous videos, I also worked in a mining company. One thing that I was really amazed while working there, and that was a wonderful experience, as I said. One thing I was really amazed to learn was that even mining is going electric. So, these dump trucks and haul trucks and all these trucks, they're actually trying to make them EV vehicles. And that kind of excites me for the future that semiconductor industry and electrical engineering industry holds, that, when a company when an industry that's as old as mining wants to go electric, you can definitely close your eyes and think, oh, it's going to be great.
Yeah, definitely. That's exciting. You've had several different experiences with on-campus jobs, internships. We went more in depth in those in kind of your videos about struggles and mistakes and lessons learned. But what are just a couple tips that you want to give to students about how to get on-campus jobs and internships that will help them?
So here's the thing. If you're coming for a master's program, now I can cover spectrum both for master's and undergrad. If you're coming here for master's program, make sure you apply for jobs like tutoring because you already do have an undergrad experience, right? And undergrad students can really use that help from your undergrad experience and the knowledge you have. My tip would be start applying soon. On-campus jobs, they might sound like something that's easy to get, but believe me, they are not. There's a lot of competition. During one of my on-campus jobs, just so that I could get the job, I had to give a written exam. So they could examine, what kind of, like if I know everything that I'm telling or not. Definitely start early, know people, make sure you have a good relationship with your supervisors. I've heard a lot about this from people that, it's just an on-campus job and they don't really care less. And then, they would just maybe leave unprofessionally. Don't do that because at times when you're applying for jobs and when they ask for recommendations, you might want to give your supervisor as your recommendation. So make sure, and also I think you being a professional arises from on-campus jobs because, if there are high chances you'll get an on-campus job before you get a full-time job or before you get an internship. So how you behave in your on-campus job actually kind of is a stepping stone of how, you would act when you go to a big company. If you are extremely unprofessional, or, if you are unable to work in a team or you're in an on-campus job, I highly doubt that, you'll able to change your behavior when you go and work in a team in a company or, for a full time. That is one thing. The other thing I would say, especially for on-campus job, is again, I'll just like to reiterate the fact, don't go over 20 hours. It's not worth it. Like, your on-campus jobs won't let you go over 20 hours, to be honest, because, they are affiliated to your university, but don't try even to, go over 20 hours.
Those are great tips. So our chat question for this video is, what university do you want to study at for electrical engineering? Where have you applied? What are your dream schools? Let us know where you guys are trying to pursue and study for electrical engineering. Tell us in the comments. All right, now Madhav, tell us a little bit, just what's the student life like being an undergrad there at ASU?
You wake up, you study, you sleep. No, it's actually a little bit better than that. So you have classes in morning. I personally what I would do is, because obviously I'm from India and my mindset was always a little different, that I wanted to be done with my classes by a set time. Your classes would be available for you until like 7 p.m. and 6 p.m. or 8 p.m. Some classes were there till 8. I would really not do those classes because I would rather have that time for me to finish my assignment studying. So my normal day would look like maybe early morning classes. It's like 9 a.m. classes. They would go up until I think 2, depending on how heavy my semester was. The worst I've had was 7:30 to 4 p.m. used to be my classes once during one semester. You study, you go to classes from that time till 4 p.m. After that, you finish your assignments, you study. I used to go play soccer, and I would highly recommend making sure that if you're going out for electrical engineering, for any engineering, because I think engineering after a while does get kind of gets on your head and gets very hard. I would say get that one thing to do that really releases your stress. So for me, it was, I would stay off campus apartment, but I would come on campus and I would bike at night. On campus, I would just bike for about an hour or hour and a half, listening to good songs. And I think that would really relieve my stress in general. So I think make sure you have these one things, because yes, it would get hard. So after my classes, I would do some assignments, go to my jobs, as I said, my on-campus job. And after my jobs, after my assignment, it would probably be 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. or something like that. If I did have time, I would just go biking. If not, I would try to finish my other assignments that would, be there. So it is kind of monotonous, but it is not bad if, you can handle it. As I said, electrical engineering is one of the hardest engineering. So if you are coming here, it's a great choice, but make sure that, just because you think you did your undergrad in India, it doesn't mean that you're not gonna do hard work in US, because it's gonna be equally or even more hard at times.
Totally. Yeah. It's hard work, but it pays off.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
especially those
definitely. I would say it's hard work that pays off. I am yet to see an example in the US where somebody worked extremely hard but didn't get paid off. I think if you work hard, somehow or the other, you will be paid off. But if, you don't want to work hard, and if you just want to go, just go under the red tape and, just make your way to the 4-year degree, you can certainly make that. But I don't know if that would be the best return on your investment.
Totally. Yeah, I did petroleum engineering at the University of Tulsa, and it was the hardest degree at my college.
Yeah.
But I was like you. I like to have my classes in the mornings and, afternoon, and then or middle of the day, then afternoon and evening I had free, to study, to take a break, go to the gym, play some sports, be involved in clubs, do other extracurriculars, and you still have some life, but then, it's helpful to have a routine. I didn't like having night classes, but some people do, but everyone has their preference of schedules, like you said.
I think ASU has great professors to begin with. It's a very good kind of a relationship that you can make with the professor. And I feel that helps a lot. These professors are just your friends. I'm yet to come across a professor again that, would not let me ask questions, because I'm kind of those people who'd ask a lot of questions, to be honest, in class, because I would just study something, would not understand, and just start bugging the professor. But all these professors were great, and these are really, really, really accomplished professors. That's why I say don't let Reddit or US News or, some kind of those, crappy ranking fool you and say, oh, ASU is a party school, because I I really do not think so. The professors are great. So I would tell you there's one professor who did his, I think, undergrad from University of Cincinnati, did his master's PhD from Stanford, and then did his postdoc in electrical engineering from Cambridge. And these are the kind of professors we have. There's one professor that I really like. He's a material science professor, or you can say he's kind of a physicist. And he's probably, I think, right now 35, if I'm not wrong. And he's a postdoc. So yeah, and in physics, I'm always amazed by these professors. You can always find these great professors there. There's my other professor that I came across who's a mentor, because when he was doing his PhD, he finished his PhD in 2 years. His PhD advisor, he was the one who made phase measuring unit. It's a huge thing when it comes to power systems. They're called PMUs. I'm sure somebody in the audience might know that. He was the guy who really came up with the idea of a phasor measuring unit. That's a big deal in power systems. So I think they were like excellent faculty right there at ASU.
That's exciting. Now, Madhav, tell us, next month you're going to be starting your full-time job.
Yeah.
What was that like? And tell us how you got your full-time job, for after graduation.
Full-time job, obviously, to be honest, the company I applied to, Maxim Integrated, I was not really hoping that, I would even get an interview, because there is always a lot of competition, and, always keep your expectations low when it comes to that. I got my first interview, and I'll be, then from there I went to the second interview, third interview. I think the best way that I did score in full-time job is, again, by applying. Most of the time we do feel that, I'm not even going to get an interview, and people don't apply, which was the case with me. And I was like, I might not get a job here because I feel it's a hard company to get in. So I was like, let it be. But then they came on campus and they had virtual information sessions. So, one other thing I would like to let everybody know is make sure you guys go to these information sessions that companies hold, because even though this might sound like an information session, they are actually looking for people, and they're very serious when they come there. So Maxim Integrated did came to my campus, and I went in there, and I asked some questions. I passed on them my resume, and later on they said that, we'd like to give everybody a 5-minute interview. And I'm like, well, 5-minute interview basically is just like screening, what's your name, and how interested are you in a company. Took that 5-minute interview. I liked it. Got probably then a 4-hour interview with them, which was like a technical round, plus knowing the team and all that. And I think then there was a couple of interviews again, followed by one written interview, which is they want to test how good you can get your point across, because at the end of the day, they just don't want to know somebody who can speak English but also can write English and get their points across pretty well. So that was a written round or written interview, and followed by, I think, somebody very senior in the company who interviewed me as well. It was a long process, as I may say. But at the end of the day, what I can say is, now you might have a question that I did 5 internships, so why did I not go back to any of that company, or why did I not choose any of that company, or rather than going for a new company? Well, I think the reason for that was my first company was in Germany, and I kind of wanted to stay in the US here for a while as of now, so I didn't want to go to Germany now, even though I love Germany, don't get me wrong. The second one was at my point where I was interning before on Semiconductor. I didn't think they had new jobs, or they didn't have a job opening. So, that brings me back to my point that always keep on applying for new opportunities. Just because you have an internship doesn't mean you're probably going to work there. If I would have thought that, I would have not even applied anywhere, but because, I felt that one should apply everywhere and always be open to work at other places, I applied too. And I'm kind of happy with, what I've heard about the company so far, and I really enjoyed meeting the team I met during the interview.
Yeah. Well, I love what you said is go to that informational interview. That's a great connection point, because, networking, relationships, referrals, that's so important. And when they actually get that first initial touch point, they see you as a person and not just a number and all the competition. And that's going to really help you stand out. So I love that you gave that suggestion is, build those relationships, make those connections, and that really helps you stand out in your job search. Overall, Madhav, this has been incredible. I loved learning about ASU and electrical engineering. Both of my parents went to ASU, and so it's fun hearing about their alma mater. And be sure to check out Madhav's other video as well. We did about overcoming struggles and mistakes and kind of false assumptions that students have here in America that'll help you guys guide you to success. And Madhav, thanks, buddy, for sharing your story. This is going to help so many people out.
Oh, I hope so. Thank you. And all the best to, I think, everybody who's watching this.
Definitely. Be sure to connect with us online on social media. Be subscribed to the Chine Coaching newsletter. Give a big like and thumbs up to say thanks to Madhav for helping out and sharing his story. And we appreciate you guys tuning in. We'll see you next time at Chine Coaching. Cheers.
Bye.